Good evening. The saying goes that a cat has 9 lives, and we all know that is a myth, but it probably comes from the fact that cats are very agile and flexible. They can jump heights, run very fast from danger and after their prey, and they're cunning, observant, and very patient. Let's see how the lives I have lived compare. Hello. I have relatives and friends who have had a very beautiful life, constant, unchangeable. Some of them, my age, were born in the same house. Their parents and grandparents were born as well, and they even had their own children now in that same home. Even some of their grandchildren. They have been able to build throughout the years a beautiful history of their own lives, one generation after the other. They have kept sometimes jobs for 30 or 40 years. They have not lived in any other city or country for that matter, always settled. And now they conform very large families, very united. And it's very beautiful to watch. And it's always that I thought I was going to have in my own life. But my life has been completely the opposite, very different. And that's why I joke sometimes and I say that I've had more lives than a cat, because that's the way I feel. In my first stage, my childhood and very young years until I became a teenager, I was living with my parents and my sister and just dedicated to study and play with my cousins and friends, and it was a very easy life where I didn't have any really major challenges at all. Then I graduated from high school and I suddenly had to enroll at university, had my first car, my first part-time job, a steady boyfriend, and the child under the umbrella of school teachers was left behind completely. It was my sole responsibility now to perform well or not at uni with my studies. I had to learn how to maintain my car. I had to learn how to manage the money that I was earning now working and take care of my own personal expenses, because that's the rule, according to my mother. And I enjoyed, the life of a young woman, very independent. Now I had to drop myself to places. My parents were not going to do that anymore. I had a boss at work. I had to learn to share my time with colleagues and, assume the responsibility of the actions or the expectations, they had from me for my job. And I had to mature very quickly, and it was only 5 years after that I got married. And again, that was an enormous change for me, another life to live. I broke all the rules in my family by marrying a foreigner. I'm a Catholic, he was not. I went to get married in the United States, and therefore I didn't have the wedding, the party, the presents, and only my mother and sister came to my wedding. I didn't have my friends and the rest of the family with me, not even my father, which was very painful, but easily managed in all the excitement. And 2 weeks after that, we went to live in New Zealand because my new husband, had accepted a job there. And in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks, I was half a planet away from my family, my country, my language, my religion, my studies, the work that I loved so much, and was thrown into a country that was completely different. First of all, it was very cold, and I came from the tropics. It was an English-speaking country. I had to learn to drive on the other side of the road. I had to make new friends and learn how the system worked. And we were having the responsibilities of, having a household to take care of. But we both were working young. We made friends very quickly, and all we did was entertain a lot. We traveled a lot. We could go out anywhere we wanted to. And life was very easy, hectic, but enjoyable. And then after that, I had my first child. And suddenly, we were thrown into parenthood. And that changed my life again. And it, every stage made me mature very quickly and change after change. And that's when I said I'm as flexible as a cat, because I adapt very quickly, assume my responsibilities, and just live life as it should. It doesn't matter what country I live in and what I had to do. So we couldn't travel as we used to. We couldn't plan our holidays the same way as if we didn't have a child. We had now a baby, and there were vaccinations, pediatrician checkups, and how to feed the child. And being so far away from my family, I was completely alone to care for that baby. My husband was into his job, so it was my job to take care of the house, husband, and the baby. And I had to teach myself everything from changing nappies to everything else. And it was quite trying, but very enjoyable, because the other thing that I received in that life was the amount of love and joy a child can bring to you. And I just loved it, every minute of it. Everything I had to do for the baby was just fabulous, the preparation of meals, going places, to the park, seeing her walk and crawl and run for the first time. So I was in a totally different life now, more mature, with a huge responsibility, and I loved it. And then after that, we had our second child, and 2 years later, I was divorced and decided to return to my country with the children, looking for the support and the warmth of my family. And the shock was that I had changed so much that I could not relate to a lot of things. So the life that I had when I was a child and a teenager was gone. It was completely different. All my cousins were now married as well, and they had children of their own, activities on their own. Life could not be as playing games all the time, and some of them had moved to other cities and even other countries. So apart from having my father next to me and my grandmother and my aunt, I was completely on my own, because it was my responsibility to take care of the children, and I had to have a job. Now I didn't have the husband to support us. It was my responsibility to do it all. So again, the young woman, newlywed, living a happy life was gone. My life was happy to a certain extent, but the rat race caught up with me, and therefore I found myself with 2 children alone, back in my country with a lot of disappointment because of the differences now. And I just had to cope, no matter what. So we decided to return to Australia. And again, I was familiar with Australia, but it was a different story. I didn't have the husband anymore. I had to work. It was easy, Australia, because I already knew it. I was more accustomed, if you want to the English lifestyle than the Latin American lifestyle. So I went back to English, and I felt very comfortable. I could find a job and go places, but all my life was a mad rush. Taking care of the children when they were teenagers, worrying so much about them and their first lessons, their first cars, the friends they frequented, a lot of social activities, sports activities. So I was administering all that and never having a thought to myself. When the children grew up, they graduated, they became professional adults, and my life changed again into the empty nest syndrome. And that took me a while to get used to. I finally managed to realize that there would not be any more celebrations organized by me, no more meals at the table, no more calendars full of events where I had to take my children here and there, and I had my life to my own until now. And in this life, I have finally conquered, and I have a very peaceful, easy life in a way. I can do whatever I want with my life, and it was a joy to discover that I didn't have to ask for permission or think of anybody else or anything else to do whatever I wanted, be study, work, travel, do things in my home. So that's where I'm at now. And all these lives were so different, and I learned so much from them. So now I'm at the stage where I can really enjoy my solitude, enjoy my activities, enjoy the freedom of choosing and deciding, and never feel that there's an obligation anymore. The obligations and the mad race to meet commitments is gone. So I wonder, how many lives do you think you have had? Or have you had a life as steady as some of my friends, you know, where you have been for generations together, building a beautiful story, one generation after the other? So if you can comment, tell me about it. I would be very curious to see how you feel. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next video. It's raining heavily here. It's very cold all of a sudden. So I'm going to warm up with a coffee in hand. See you soon. Bye.